Welcome back children. Today in this class we'll be seeing about the different types of mushroom. We'll be seeing about the four different types of mushroom. The first one is the Agaricus bisporus. The second one is the Calocybe indica. Third is the Volvarella volvaceae. And the fourth one is the Pleurotus austerus, or you can call it as Pleurotus sajar-kaju. Coming to the first one, that is the Agaricus. So in Agaricus, this is our favorite mushroom and commercially available mushroom in the market. If you go to the market, you can get a packet that is maybe of 100 or 200 grams, cost around 50 to 60 rupees, and we all like that, right? Making different recipes in that mushroom. So this mushrooms are normally called as the Agaricus bisporus, and many Agaricus species are also there, and they are both edible and also poisonous mushrooms can be seen, and it is distributed worldwide, and mostly 300 members can be seen throughout the world. Commonly used, that is the button mushroom which is available in the market, we call it as the Agaricus bisporus, and the field mushroom which is available from the field, from the paddy field or any field, such button mushrooms we call it as the Agaricus campestris, and it is mostly dominant in the that is dominant and cultivated in the western side of the India. So as we know the structure of a mushroom, look into the fleshy cap or the pileus. From the underside, you can see a number of radiating layers and or plates, and that is called as the gills. And on the gills only, you can see naked spores, and that spores will be actually chocolate brown in color. So by which you can identify this type of mushroom. Not all the button mushrooms are the Agaricus species. There are differentiation, and how we differentiate means by looking at the color of the spores. So it will be mostly chocolate brown color. Now this is the structure of the Agaricus mushroom, and you can see for the anchorage, for the support, it is having a root-like structure. It is not root-like structure, and that is called as the mycelium, which helps in the anchorage to the substratum. And from that arises a stalk, and that stalk is called as the stipe. It's called as the stipe. The stalk of the mushroom is called as the stipe. And you can see on the tip an umbrella-like structure, and that umbrella-like structure, the covering structure, is called as the pileus, and underneath the pileus you can see radiating plates, and that plates resembles like the fish gills, and that is called as the gills. When this fruiting body is in bud stage, it is protected with the help of a layer, and that layer is called as the annulus or the velum, VELUM. So both the terms can be used, annulus or the velum. And this annulus or the velum, what happens, it will break open as the fruiting body grows and opens. So what happens, you can see a layer, a ring-like layer nearing to the cap region, and that is called as the annulus. So for identification of Agaricus, it is very simple. You can look into the annulus. If annulus is there and the mushroom is white in color and looks like a button mushroom, and the spores are generally chocolate brown in color, then you can blindly identify this mushroom as the Agaricus bisporus or the Agaricus campestris. Next mushroom is the Calocybe indica. This is very special to the India, and it's native to India, and the color is very important. It is milky white color. So the mushroom itself is called as the milky white mushroom, and it appears due after the rainfall. That is after the rainfall, you can see on the field or on the sides of the roads, you can see, and mostly in West Bengal it is traditionally eaten as a vegetable. They usually take it, and also it is commercially grown in the Indian states, and it's otherwise known as the robust mushroom because of the size. The robust means it's larger in size. When compared to all other mushrooms, the Scalocybe indica or the milky white mushroom is generally larger in size, and it's very adaptable to its color, and it has got a firm consistency. And looking into the cap is actually 10 to 14 centimeters. So you can imagine the size of a small size scale. It's average of 15 centimeter. So the length of the cap itself is 10 to 14 centimeter, and it's having a convex shape. Initially it is convex, and later on it becomes flattened. So why that name indica means because it's native to India. That is why it's called as the Calocybe indica. Coming to the structure of the mushroom specifically, when you look into the agaricus and this Calosae indica, there's a lot of difference. So the can anybody tell what is the major difference here? Yes, I suppose you got it. Here, you cannot see any annulus or the volva. In agaricus, you saw annulus or the volva. Here, you cannot see any annulus or the volva. Instead, it is absent. And you can see a thin layer on the surface of the mushroom, and that is called as the cuticle, and it can be easily peeled off. It can be just removed as like that. And you can see the you can see the gills. The gills are very much crowded. It's white in color, and so it develops into brown. It becomes brown, and the stem will be also 10 centimeter in height. There is no ring nor volva. Both are absent. And here, one important positive aspect of this mushroom is that it does not change its color even after cutting or bruising. For example, if you cut open a potato and keep for some time, it oxidizes and naturally the color changes. But here, that doesn't happen. There is no change in the color, even you can keep it for some time. And this flesh has a mild flavor. It has got oily. It is little bit oily and has got a smell of a radish and taste like the unripened coconut. When you eat it as or when you smell it, it will be having a smell of a radish and also the unripened coconut. And coming to the spores are generally white in color and it is oval. The spores will be oval and the micrometer is given. That is 5.9 to 6.8 micrometers long and the wide 4.2 to 5.1 micrometer wide the spores. So mostly this Calosae bendica grows in the grasslands, fields and road verges in Tamil Nadu and Rajasthan, and generally and on all the organic material it grows. And mostly it appears in between May month and August after the rainfall. And this is commercially cultivated in southern India and is becoming popular in China, Malaysia and Singapore. Those even in very hot, humid conditions, that is the 60 to 70% humid conditions, and the temperature is around 25 to 35 degrees Celsius year round. So it requires 25 to 35 degrees Celsius. And the entire process, that is for the growth of the complete life cycle and production of the fruiting body, it takes around 45 days. So if you cultivate this mushroom in 45 days, you can start harvesting the milky white mushroom. Next is the Volvarella volvaceae, the third one. So it is otherwise called as the paddy straw mushroom or straw mushroom. So as the name implies, the common name implies, it grows mainly on the paddy straws. Wherever the paddy field is there, after the cultivation, they just put the paddy straw as such like that, and you can see this mushrooms growing on the paddy straw. So it is mostly cultivated in the southern East Asia, and in Asian cookings they normally use this type of mushrooms. And the availability, coming to the availability, as fresh it is available in the market in Asia, in Asian market, but also frequently it is preserved. So as preservation process, you can go for canning and drying and all those things, and it is exported to other countries also. And the cultivation process, this Volvarella volvaceae or the paddy straw mushrooms ranks third position all over the world, and mostly it is grown on the rice straw beds, and it is commonly picked when it is immature, that is when before the opening of the mushroom itself we just collect it. Okay, that is called as the during the bud or button stage or the egg phase, before even the annulus opens, that is the veil opens, we collect it. Then adaptability, for how many days you can keep it, means you can keep it for more than 4 to 5 days to mature, and are most successfully grown in tropical subtropical climates with high annual rainfall. So this is about the Volvarella volvaceae, and it's very small in size. Now coming to the Pleurotus oysteratus or Pleurotus sajarkaj, you can tell in both. That is, this is actually the pearl oyster mushroom or tree oyster mushrooms. So it was cultivated in Germany. So speaking about that, during World War One, what happened? A severe famine occurred because of the complete war for many days. So people were not getting food. They did not get any food source. So during that time they started growing this type of mushrooms, and they relied on that mainly for the protein source. So after that, later on, what happened, it was slowly grown for commercial purpose also. It is closely related to the king oyster mushrooms, and now nowadays they are using for the myoremediation process. Myo means fungus, so fungus used for the cleaning the environment, that is called as the myoremediation process. How means it degrades the organic matter. So for biodegradable waste and all, if you which is having this uh, cellulosic substances, what happens, these mushrooms can be grown and you can break down the molecules. And it is also one of the commonly grown mushrooms, and in Tamil Nadu also it is grown in most of the places. It has got a sweet smell, that is a bittersweet aroma of the benzaldehyde. And coming to the structure, it has a broad fan or oyster shaped cap, and the spanning length of the cap will be around 5 to 25 centimeter, depending upon the growth. So mostly it will be white to gray or tan to dark brown in color, and you can see the margin. It will be enrolled. That is, the margins will be infolded when it is young. Later on, it becomes firm, white, and it moves outside in the older stages, and the flesh is very thick. Coming to the gills, it is white to cream in color. You can see many layers underneath radiating. And you can, one more thing you have to notice here, the stipe is off center. That is, in between the fan like structure, you can see the stipe, and even if the stipe is present, it's very small. And coming to the spores is white in color here. So mostly here the stipes are absent. Sometimes if it is present, it is very short and thick. So you can differentiate all the four mushrooms using this. And this oyster mushroom is frequently used in Japanese, Korean and Chinese cookery as a delicacy. So you can see the picture in the soup and all. Mostly these mushrooms are used as and also they use for the stuffing and preparing of the sauces, etc. In Asian cooking, mainly they use these types of mushrooms. Mostly these mushrooms are best when they are young. When they are young itself, they harvest it and they use it, because that what happens means, as days goes on, the flavor will change, so it becomes unpleasant for us, so we don't rely on that. Better to take the mushrooms at the younger stages. So this is the cultivated bag of mushroom. You can see this is oyster mushroom. It's cultivated in Kerala and mainly in India, and it is used for the various preparations. So for cultivating, they use the polythene bags. So prescribed bags are used for the growth of the mushrooms, and a small amount of arabitol. What is arabitol? Actually, it's a sugar alcohol. So it is produced in this mushroom, and it may cause some upset in our gastrointestinal system. It may cause some upset, so people generally, you have to cook the mushrooms well and then have it, otherwise it may cause some uneasiness or some stomach upsets, such like that. So these are the important features of the four different types of mushroom. From this data, you can see the different states which are cultivating different types of mushrooms. You can see mushrooms, oyster, milky mushrooms, apart from that other mushrooms, and the total production per year. So this is a data according to 2010, but now it has increased. So you can see in Tamil Nadu, since we belong to Tamil Nadu, you can see mostly butter mushrooms are cultivated. Next to that oyster, the next is milky mushrooms. So all over India it is being cultivated. Now, here is your assignment. Actually, what you have to do is go through the lesson properly and study about the four different types of mushroom. Write notes on that and draw diagrams wherever necessary. Thank you, children. We'll see you in the next video.